1960s were a storm of rebellion, revolution, and records that pushed every boundary they could find. By mid-decade, artists were slipping protest, passion, and poetry past the censors, sometimes getting banned, sometimes sparking nationwide outrage. Songs like the one we'll hit at number 6 rattled radios everywhere. And The Fire Waiting near number 1, that one shook the whole decade. These are the 10 most controversial banned songs of the 1960s, tracks that defined the tension and the triumph of a changing America. Number 10, Louie, Louie by the Kingsmen, the garage rock chant that sent the FBI into a panic. Released in 1963 on Jordan Records, this scrappy garage rock cover didn't seem like trouble at first. The Kingsmen were barely out of high school, stumbling into a studio with a cheap mic hanging from the ceiling and a single take to get it right. But that rough, mumbled delivery accidentally sparked one of the strangest moral panics in music history. Rumors began swirling that the lyrics hid obscene messages, words so filthy that teens everywhere were supposedly whispering them in hallways. None of it was true, of course, but the rumor grew so big, the FBI launched a 31-month investigation, combing through slowed down tapes, transcripts, and testimonies, only to conclude they couldn't understand a single word. Meanwhile, radio stations across the country banned the track outright, feeding the myth even further. Yet for anyone who remembers the early 60s, hearing Louie, Louie blasting from a scratched 45 felt like rebellion. You can almost picture the basement parties, the smell of amplifier tubes heating up, and kids dancing like they just discovered electricity. And today, its legacy is untouchable, covered thousands of times, preserved in the Library of Congress, and still considered the anthem that proved teenagers didn't need permission to rock. If that was chaotic garage soul, the next one is pure psychedelic danger sitting right at the edge of the era's fears. Number 9, 8 Miles High by the Byrds. The soaring psychedelic storm that broadcasters swore was a drug anthem. Released in 1966 on Columbia Records, 8 Miles High arrived at a moment when the Byrds were transforming from folk rock darlings into pioneers of psychedelic sound. Roger McGuinn's jazz-influenced guitar lines, Gene Clark's moody melodies, and David Crosby's shimmering harmonies created something entirely new, mystical, spiraling, and far ahead of its time. The song wasn't about drugs at all. It was inspired by the band's uneasy trip to London and the alienation they felt on the road. But in an era where anything that sounded unusual put parents on edge, program directors decided those swirling riffs had to mean one thing. By spring of '66, radio networks, including some of the nation's biggest chains, banned the song on suspicion of distinct LSD references. No proof, just vibes. The Byrds were furious, and the band stalled what could have been a massive hit. Still, the controversy added fuel to its legend. For listeners, that opening guitar run felt like stepping through a doorway into a Technicolor sky. Cool, strange, and a little bit dangerous. Looking back, 8 Miles High stands as one of the first true psychedelic rock masterpieces, inspiring everyone from Hendrix to the Velvet Underground. It wasn't illegal. It was just ahead of its time. And if that one floated too close to the sun for the censors, wait till you hear what happens with the track coming next, where innocence, radio politics, and fear collided in a way no one expected. Number 8. Leader of the Pack by the Shangri-Las. The teenage tragedy that some stations thought was just too real. Released in 1964 on Redbird Records, this track arrived right at the height of the teenage tragedy boom. A wave of emotional story songs about love, loss, and heartbreak on the open road. The Shangri-Las, with their smoky harmonies and streetwise attitude, delivered the genre's defining moment. But Leader of the Pack wasn't just another tearjerker.
Well, I gotta look up. Yeah, my hearing's bad.
Its vivid sound effects, revving engines, and fatal crash stirred up panic among program directors who felt the song was encouraging reckless behavior and exploiting teen grief. Several cities banned it outright. Others demanded edited versions with the motorcycle crash removed. Some schools even held PTA meetings over it, claiming the song was glorifying rebellion, danger, and forbidden romance.
Dirty fingernails. Hope I would've cried.
Yet teens connected to it instantly. You can practically feel the white vinyl booths of a 1964 soda shop, the jukebox glowing as kids lean in to hear Mary Weiss whisper about forbidden love. Despite restrictions, the song shot to number 1 and became a cultural landmark, echoed in films, parodied endlessly, and cherished by generations who felt the ache of young love caught between rules and desire.
And when it's here in the street, the heart takes the leap and
If that was heartbreak wrapped in leather jackets and chrome, the next song stirred controversy for a completely different reason. One rooted in politics, protest, and a world demanding change. Number 7, Eve of Destruction by Barry McGuire. The protest anthem that terrified the establishment.
Don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
When Barry McGuire released Eve of Destruction in 1965 on Dunhill Records, he wasn't trying to start a revolution. He was reflecting the fear and turbulence rising across the country. Written by P.F. Sloan, the song was a raw, urgent cry about war, racial tension, nuclear threat, and the generational divide breaking America open.
The Eastern world, it is exploding.
But in an era when radio preferred its protest music soft and symbolic, McGuire's gravelly, straight-to-the-bone delivery felt like a shockwave. Within days of hitting the airwaves, stations across the U.S. and even overseas banned the song for being too negative, too unpatriotic, or simply too real.
Don't you understand what I'm trying to say?
Some politicians called for it to be pulled nationwide. The controversy only made it hotter. Teens bought the single in droves, pushing it all the way to number 1. And there's something haunting about hearing it now. You can almost see a 1965 living room, the TV flickering Vietnam coverage, while this song spills from a radio on the kitchen counter.
I'm sitting here just contemplating. I can't quit.
Its legacy continues as one of the boldest protest songs of the decade, paving the way for more outspoken artists who weren't afraid to name the wounds of their time. And if that one shook the political nerves of a generation, the next track stirred a different kind of cultural uproar, and its ban was rooted in pure, unfiltered misinterpretation. Number 6, Puff. The Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary, the gentle folktale that censors insisted was coded rebellion.
You get the picture?
Yes, we see. That's straight uphill.
Released in 1963 on Warner Brothers, Puff, the Magic Dragon, was meant to be a tender children's story, adapted from a poem Leonard Lipton wrote about imagination fading as we grow older. Peter, Paul, and Mary delivered it with soft harmonies and a lullaby-like sweetness that captured the innocence of early 60s folk music.
He stood there and asked me why.
But as the counterculture began rising, rumors spread that Puff wasn't about childhood at all. that it was secretly a pro-marijuana anthem filled with hidden meanings. Despite the group's repeated explanations and even Lipton's frustrated clarifications, some radio stations banned the song outright, convinced the dragon, the paper, and the puffing were drug references. The band baffled fans who'd grown up singing it at campfires and school assemblies. Still, the controversy only boosted its mystique. For many listeners, the song carries the soft glow of childhood. Warm bedrooms, vinyl crackle, and the gentle ache of remembering a world where everything felt magical. And if that one was innocence misunderstood, the song coming up next sparked a very different kind of reaction. One that made broadcasters fear they were playing with fire. If these band classics are bringing back memories or surprising you with their stories, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps keep the music and the history alive. And stay tuned. We've still got 5 more tracks that push the limits of the entire decade. Number 5, Light My Fire by The Doors. The smoldering breakthrough that networks tried to tame. Released in 1967 on Elektra Records, Light My Fire marked the moment the Doors exploded from a smoky Sunset strip club act into national lightning. Ray Manzarek's swirling organ, Robbie Krieger's flamenco-inspired guitar lines, and Jim Morrison's hypnotic voice created a track that felt like stepping into a dream with no clear exit. But as it climbed the charts, CBS executives grew anxious about one particular line. "Girl, we couldn't get much higher." They insisted it was an obvious drug reference. When The Doors appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, producers demanded Morrison replace the word higher with something acceptable. The band nodded politely backstage. Then, Jim walked on stage and belted the original lyric with that unmistakable half smirk. Sullivan was furious. The network banned The Doors permanently, canceling 6 future appearances on the spot. But the defiance made the track legendary, a symbol of the moment youth culture stopped asking permission. Hearing it now, you can almost feel the dim-lit dance floors of 19-7. Incense drifting through the air, and the slow burn of a generation hungry for something deeper, freer, and louder than the rules allowed. And if The Doors pushed boundaries with a single rebellious word, the next song set off alarms by daring to talk about a topic many broadcasters wouldn't touch at all. Number 4, The Pill by Loretta Lynn, the country firestorm that shocked conservative radio.
The world is a bed and a doctor bill. I'm tired.
Released in 1965 but held back by her label until 1970, Loretta Lynn's The Pill was actually recorded smack in the middle of the 60s cultural shift, and it set off a storm long before anyone outside Nashville even heard it. The song celebrated birth control from a woman's perspective, boldly spotlighting freedom, choice, and frustration with traditional expectations. For a country artist, especially a woman, to sing that openly was unheard of at the time.
There's gonna be some changes made right here on Nurse.
When advance copies circulated in the late 60s, rural program directors panicked. Some banned the track immediately. Others sent angry letters to Lynn's label warning they'd stop playing any of her music if the song ever hit the airwaves. Churches condemned it. Community boards demanded it be shelved. But among women, especially those juggling families, farms, and limited opportunity,
Hot pants and a few little fancy frills. Yeah, I'm making.
the song spread quietly through word of mouth. For them, it wasn't scandal, it was truth. Even today, you can feel the bravery in that twangy, matter-of-fact delivery. Imagine a kitchen in 1966, radio humming low, kids running through the house, and a mother hearing a voice finally saying what she couldn't. That mix of shock and relief gave the song its lasting power.
This incubator is overused because you kept it.
The Pill eventually became one of Lynn's signature hits, a feminist landmark long before the term became common in country music. If that one challenged social norms from the inside, the next track stirred something much darker, because stations didn't just ban it. Some feared it predicted an uprising. Number 3, Strange Fruit by Nina Simone, the haunting protest that broadcasters feared was too powerful to air. Though Strange Fruit was first recorded by Billie Holiday in 1939, it was Nina Simone's chilling 1965 performance, released on Philips Records, that reignited the controversy for a new generation. Simone didn't just sing the song, she delivered it like a sermon, a warning, and a wound all at once. At a time when the civil rights movement was at its most volatile, her stark, unflinching version of the anti-lynching anthem struck fear into the hearts of stations that preferred their music safe. Many refused to play it. Some cities banned it outright. Others demanded that labels and venues keep the song off set lists entirely, worried it would incite unrest. But Simone wasn't trying to incite anything. She was daring America to look at itself. Her voice, heavy with pain and defiance, made the song impossible to ignore. Listening now, you can almost picture a 1965 coffee house, dim lights, murmuring crowd, and the room going completely still as the final note hangs like smoke. The legacy of Strange Fruit remains unmatched. It's taught in universities, honored by the Library of Congress, and revered by artists who see it as one of the bravest performances ever recorded. It wasn't banned because it was dangerous. It was benedicted because it told the truth. And if that one exposed the darkest corners of the American experience, the next track brought controversy from a completely different angle. Sexuality, freedom, and a rhythm that made censors sweat. Number 2, Let's Spend the Night Together by the Rolling Stones, the bold invitation that TV networks scrambled to censor. Released in 1967 on Decca's London Records, Let's Spend the Night Together came at a time when the Rolling Stones were fully embracing their role as rock's dangerous, swaggering counterpoint to the Beatles' clean-cut charm. Mick Jagger's delivery was playful, teasing, and unmistakably direct. Too direct for many American broadcasters who still wanted their pop songs wrapped in innuendo instead of honesty.
But I just won't apologize, oh no I won't.
The controversy exploded when the Stones performed on The Ed Sullivan Show. CBS insisted the band change the lyric to "Let's Spend Some Time Together" to avoid offending families watching at home. Jagger complied, sort of. He sang the altered line, but the eye roll he delivered straight into the camera might be the most iconic side-eye in TV history. Despite the compromise, several stations still refused to play the record, claiming it was promoting immorality.
You know I'm smiling, baby. Little God.
The band only amplified the song's allure. Play it today, and you can practically feel the electric friction of 1907. Teenagers turning the volume low so parents wouldn't overhear. Record players spinning in dim bedrooms, and that thrilling sense of youth culture pushing back against every boundary placed in front of it. The song went on to become a defining moment in the Stones' evolution, marking the era where pop music stopped apologizing for adult themes and began embracing them with open confidence.
Now I know you will satisfy me.
And if that one stirred up trouble with a wink and a grin, nothing compares to The Storm waiting at number 1. Because that record wasn't just banned, It was feared, fought, and condemned across the entire country. Number 1, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. The love song some stations thought was too bold for God and pop radio to share.
I may not always love you.
Released in 1966 on Capitol Records as part of the legendary Pet Sounds album, God Only Knows wasn't a protest song, a sexual revolution anthem, or a piece of psychedelic rebellion. Instead, it was something quieter and somehow more controversial. Brian Wilson crafted a sweeping orchestral confession of devotion, along with Carl Wilson's tender, breathy purity. But the trouble came from a single word, God, in a love song.
The world could show nothing to me. So
For many radio programmers in conservative regions, especially in the American South, using God's name in a romantic context felt blasphemous. Some stations refused to play it outright, arguing it crossed a sacred line. Others demanded edits or opted to spin only the B-side, "Wouldn't It Be Nice?" to avoid complaints from listeners and church groups. Ironically, the very thing they feared, the raw, vulnerable honesty of that lyric, is what made the song revolutionary. For the people who did hear it in '66, the experience was unforgettable.
if you should ever leave me, the life would still.
Picture a summer night, windows open, transistor radio glowing with that warm amber hue, and this gentle, trembling melody floating through the room like a prayer disguised as pop. It felt intimate, risky, and beautiful all at once. Over time, God Only Knows became widely regarded as one of the greatest love songs ever recorded. Praised by Paul McCartney, celebrated in films, and cherished across generations.
I'd be without. God only knows what I'd be.
The world eventually embraced what some stations once feared. A song brave enough to say, love can be both human and holy. And with that, we've traveled through a decade where music didn't just entertain. It challenged, provoked, and reflected a world in transition. From rebellious rock to fearless folk, from forbidden romance to bold truth-telling, these banned songs of the 1960s remind us that music has always been the heartbeat of change. Thanks for joining me on this journey through controversy, courage, and unforgettable sound. If you enjoyed this countdown, hit subscribe to keep the groove alive and never miss our next deep dive. And when you're ready for more, click the end screen to roll into our next video, the most controversial songs of the 1970s, and keep this rhythm of rebellion going.